Alright guys, today I am here to explain this little guy right here. You can barely see that, but this is a V-block. I don't have like a picture of one on my phone or print it off or anything, so I'm just gonna put one right over my beautiful face for half a second. This one right here is like a traditional style one. They have some like clamps on the side and some holes and some stuff like that. This would be like if you're using it for a traditional mill. This is something I made for my CNC. It's a V-block and it creates a V. There's a lot of other videos out there on this kind of stuff, and a lot of you may have seen them. You know, Ox Tools, Tom Lipton has a really good talking about it. He's great. He talks about everything like that. But I wanted one of these, and I didn't want to buy one, and I wanted to work with my my Vises, so I went ahead and made one. Let's actually wait. No, we're not going to put it together yet. I'm going to show you how it works first. So the idea with this is you have a clamp, a vise, which is like this. This is a vise, and it clamps flat things, essentially. There's a little parallel on this. My focus is out here, you're not gonna be able to see that. But there's a little parallel on this, which is a little step, so you can put something on it like this and hold it up off the ground. But essentially what you do is you would hold something like this and clamp it really hard, and it won't go anywhere in your vise. That's great for square stuff. But if you try to put something round in there, and you put it in here, because it's on only 2 points, this side of the vise and the other side of the vise, I only have one side of the vise in my hand, it can slip and move and even turn on you. Not good. So you can't really just, you could try clamping the shit out of it, but that probably wouldn't work that well, because it can still jostle itself loose, essentially. So what you do is, instead of clamping between 2 points, you clamp between 3 points. And that's what this thing is for. So you would have a clamp like this on one side, and then the V-block would come in on the other side. I know, hold on, there we go. You'd have the clamp like this on one side of the vise, and then this side would come from the other side and be down at the bottom like this. And what that does is it creates 3 points that this thing can't rotate around. It can't twist on you anymore. And the clamping, it's not gonna lift out. There's more than enough force to keep it from lifting out, especially if it can't rock itself loose, which would happen if you didn't have those points. But since it can't rock, it can't get out, and it's trapped between 3 points. And then you know if those points are all, well, they're points, they're like, I guess they're lines technically. But if you know they're parallel to in the third dimension down, if you know they're parallel this way, it'll make the top of this parallel too. If everything is square, which it never is, but it's decently square, right? So that's how you hold it. So I have these parts. I have parts like these. This is their profile right here that I'm machining for the Iron Man suit, and I need to hold them. So this is an excuse to build this, and so these would go in like this, and they get clamped like that, and then this won't slip loose on me. So that's why I did it. This is how it works. Now let's just put it together here, and I'll show you how it works. I'll show you briefly how this clamp works. I know people are gonna ask about it. I need to make a full video on it, but essentially, this fixed side gets clamped to my table with these tapered washers. These washers have a very slight taper on them, and these have a very slight taper on them this way. It's sloping down this way. And when these go on, it's like 1 degree. You're not gonna be able to see it on camera. But this keeps this from being able to push back, especially when this is tight. Because it's tapered, it could slide forward, but it couldn't slide back. And since we're clamping forward, it doesn't matter, it won't slide forward. So there's a slot in there, right? So this takes up the gross adjustment. So this can move 1.5 inches, and then so you set it, you get it close to the material, you set it, and then you clamp it down. And then it's not, the bottom part isn't going anywhere, and it's essentially up against the material, but it's not clamping the material yet. Then this guy goes on top here. And these are tapered. They're tapered, I think 82 degrees. And there's another taper inside of here. Countersinks is what they call them. So there's another taper inside of there. And then these get tightened down, torqued down to about, I think 12 foot-pounds is what I was doing. I was doing more, but it was starting to damage them. And then those opposing angles slide, as this gets pulled down, it slides this forward. So the screw gets pulled down and this goes forward and it clamps that forward. Brilliant design, not my design. But that's how that works. And so these go here, like that, and now I'll get those on better in a second. Make sure there's no dust in there. And then this guy, oops, put it on backwards. Now you get to watch me redo it. And I didn't say, I also took one of my Vise jaws, and you see those holes in it right here and right here. I drilled and tapped some holes on the front of my Vise. So that goes down like that, and then this has corresponding holes in it, and it goes finger tighten. There we go. It goes like that, and this now is attached to the jaw. It's removable. So I want to show you how I made it, though. So I'm gonna take these off. Okay, so the way this is machined, and I have part of a time lapse. I got a new camera. I'm trying to figure it out. I'll put that over as I talk. But this came through like this. I can't put it over because you need to see me. Okay, this was I did this new camera. The time lapse was not perfect, but here is 10 seconds of time lapse. Boom. Yeah, okay, that was the time lapse. So what happened is this tool came in here, it did a 2D adaptive, and I stepped it down to keep shatter from happening, so I didn't go all the way down and try to cut out this entire area at once. Okay, first actually I machined it, I'm starting to at the beginning, or not at the beginning. First I machined it flat on all sides. I flipped it, since there's a fixed side and a movable side of my jaw, like this thing wobbles around, it won't, the back side, this side won't push it out of square, so I put the square cut side on the fixed side, the part is just locked down on the other side, which you can't see. It looks like this. It just fixes down, it locks down, has pins in it to keep it from moving. Fixed side like that. Then when this side pushes up against this, it can wobble. It can wobble like this and align itself. So that's how I got this nice and square. I haven't checked the squareness. I'm sure it's not perfect, but and then I got to the other side. So then this tool right here came and cut it this side out, and it did it in 3 different steps. Cleared that all out. Cleared this side over here. And then I kept the same tool in there, and I came and I did a 3D adaptive, so where it cuts across, and then it cleans up the sides, cuts in, cleans up the sides, and then comes in and cleans up the sides. But it's steps because it's a roughing tool. And then I couldn't get in the middle with that tool, so I switched to a smaller end mill. This is an 1/8 inch end mill. These are coated, by the way, in something that keeps aluminum from sticking to it, which is awesome. Helical, great tools. Comes in and machined that also with adaptive, and then so then I have all these steps on it, and then this tool comes. This tool has a little bit of a chamfer on the end, a rounded corner on it, which makes it good for this kind of operation. And it comes up and down, which I didn't get on the I didn't get this part on the time lapse. Like I said, I'm new to this camera, but it came up and down, 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 and it smoothed out this entire surface. And then I cleaned it up with a little bit of sandpaper because it wasn't perfect. And then I drilled holes with my, I don't have it in here. It's on the machine. With a carbide end mill, I drilled these holes in here. And if you listened and you know anything about machining, you can hear my entire machine shake, which is because the collet that I got is out by 3/1000ths of an inch, so it wobbles back and forth 3/1000ths of an inch, which is a tremendous amount of run out for a small tool like this. Like it should be 1/10 of a thousandth of an inch, and it's 3/1000ths. So it's like 300 times more than it should be. That's like acceptable tolerances. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta grit your teeth and get stuff done when you have a shitty machine. But yeah, so let's see here. Did I get everything? I'm getting notes so that my videos are better. Ah, I didn't get everything. The last thing I wanted to show you and talk about here is that I was kind of expecting there to be play in this. So if I take a piece, just a chunk of metal, and I stick it in there, and I rock it back and forth, it doesn't feel like there's any play at all. This is extruded, it's not perfectly flat, but I was kind of expecting there to be like a little bit of like a little bit like out of alignment. Do I have some right there? Maybe I have a little bit right there. Oh yeah, there's a little bit right there. Huh, interesting. See, I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, now I can't get it to do it. Maybe it works now. I don't know. I was started off pretty impressed. Now I don't have, this isn't like a ground perfect object, but it seems pretty square is what I'm trying to say. It's nice to have nice things. I'm building all this out of aluminum, which means it's all gonna be kind of dead in like 5 years because this just won't hold up to abuse, but it's all right. I can build more tools and buy more tools. So I'm just getting started, baby. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go take this and put it on the machine and clamp something into it. I'm not gonna do any tool pass, any drilling for you because this is only part one of me holding round bits. The second part, which is why this chunk is here, this chunk of brass, is because I'm gonna build something to hold an indicator to sweep in this because I don't have probing for circles. So I could yank the brain out, put a new brain in, and then be able to do that. That sounds like a lot of work, so I'm just gonna build, which is also a lot of work, but I'm just gonna build a little thing that'll hold my indicator out of some stuff I have sitting around, and then I can sweep it in that way and just set my zero that way. So I'm using a mechanical solution because I don't feel like doing a software brain swap solution. So yeah. All right, we're gonna go put this onto the vise and just see how, how it works. We need to end this video with some demonstration of how it works, right? All right, let's go do it. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about here is these holes. I forgot to mention this, but these holes that I'm screwing this into right now are not strictly necessary. This thing would clamp and hold itself just fine without these. This just puts it into a single spot so that I don't so that I can keep it zeroed essentially. So I have this piece here, I can just remove it and put it back in. This won't move at all, so I know that the zero for parts of the same size are all the same. And I have like 4 of each of these to do. So having these on here means I don't have to keep re-zeroing after every single time because this would move left and right and it wouldn't stay in the right spot. So that's why these are here. They're not really there for any other reason. You know what? I'll tighten that again. Hold on. All right, so the fixed side's down. I'm going to tighten this guy down. Go. All right, so you saw me take the slack out of that with these two guys, and now this guy has a little bit of movement in here, but it can still come in and out. that. So these are pretty much, this is like slightly not as high as that. So I want to put pressure there so that this comes in. Nice. There we go. And now that cannot come out. So now you can see this guy is not going anywhere in here. I'm gonna pull this guy off and make sure it's not marring the edge of this here, because I'm a little worried about that. But this will work, and that's just fantastic. Very good, very good. Part 2 is gonna be how I indicate this in, and then I'll be able to machine these up for the suit and get after that too. So looks good. I made this on my lathe, obviously. Yeah. Bye guys. Yeah, guys, that's how you set your focus. If you don't have a cameraman, someone to help you out, you do it with a isentropic flow properties. This is a table. This is essentially how you design a rocket nozzle. Yeah. All right, let's get to it.